Mm-hmm.
Well, welcome in, everybody, to a surprise live episode of 410 Sports Talk. I'm James Haskell, as always, accompanied by my co-host, Glenn Martin. Not as always, actually. I was out last week,
Mm-hmm.
ladies
Yeah,
and gentlemen.
left me alone, left me high and dry. Your boy was sweating bullets while you were gone.
Hey, you
So
always
happy
had
to
the
see you back.
squad, always had the background squad, though. You got
That's
DK,
true.
you got Brad, but you're right. It must be awkward to not have a partner in crime. I only did it once with just an audio call years and years ago. Remember, we were just a pod?
Yep.
It was weird.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Yeah. When I'm stammering and searching for words, and normally you're there to jump right in, or if I say something really stupid, you're
Or
there to
you're like
save me.
arguing with yourself, like your mind is split between 2
Exactly.
points.
Yeah, it was not easy. So glad to have you back. But Jimbo, really, really excited about the
Yes.
Ravens not just getting in on some free agency, but getting in on some early free agency. This isn't the whole, wait until the dust settles and bargain shop. The Ravens went out there a little bit, didn't they, Jimbo?
Yeah, they did, man. And I appreciate you allowing me the opportunity to break this news. But speaking of breaking news, you guys already know that's why you're here. Marcus Williams has signed a 5-year, $70 million deal with the Baltimore Ravens, and the total guarantee is 31 or 37. I can't remember.
I'm about to
I
pull it up right now.
think it's 31, or excuse me, 37.
Yeah, I believe it is 37. Yep.
Verify with me if I'm it's any different.
14 annually, average annual.
But the cool thing about this, number one, is that shout out to intern Brad.
Mm-hmm.
Broke this news, was one of the fastest we saw in the Ravens circuit to get it done. That's right. He's quick with the draw. If Brad lived back in the early constitutional colonial days, he would have never lost a draw. He would have lived a long life because dude is quick with the trigger. So
doubt.
shout out. And I also just want to say that Marcus Williams, if you guys don't know, former Saint, previous to that, a University of Utah safety. So go Utes, as always. We dig it. Look, Glenn, it worked out once. Why not do it again?
There's been a lot of Utes joining the team since we started this.
It seems to work out, though, right?
It does. I mean, it's hard to complain about the guys that have come in here. And this one might be the biggest one yet. I mean, man, it's funny when you kind of sit back and the offseason started and you start seeing guys leaving and you start to see some holes opening up. I don't think I would have put free safety at the top of my needs list. But I think it's one of those things that once we get someone, you start to, sit back and you go, well, did you really? I mean, I'm excited about this move, although I wouldn't have put it as the top of my needs list, I guess is how I would say it. Now,
yeah.
Does that at all worry you that well, again, I'm hyped, and we're going to get into the reason why I'm so hyped about this, but does it at all worry you that it now limits what they can do at other spots?
No, it doesn't, for a few reasons. In a lot of boards, this guy was ranked really high overall amongst available free agencies or free agents, excuse me. And so I'd rather take just a talented football player instead of a need in a lot of cases. And the Ravens have done that in the past. And look, it's worked out for us. J.K. Dobbins was a typical one where we thought we got, Mark and we got Gus. Why do we need a guy like J.K.? Mm-hmm. Well, Eric saw something we didn't see, right?
Yep.
So, and I think time after time, that's Ozzie Newsome training right there, right? And so I think I'm fine with it. I'm happy. I would rather chase talent than just chase fit.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, I mean, the guy's a baller. I mean, you mentioned it. He was PFF's number 8 rated overall free agent, and he was by far the number 1 safety, free agent safety on the market. And he also, just to kind of further that, he is the highest rated and safety amongst all safeties since 2019. He had a 90.6 grade since 2019, which is first among all safeties. The guy is a baller. And Jimbo, only 25 years old. Now, he will be 26 when the season starts in September.
Peak of his career.
The guy's just entering his prime. That's what's really exciting is that, in recent years, we've been, getting guys towards the end of their career, certainly on the back end of their prime at the very earliest. This guy hasn't even reached his prime yet. He's just entering the best years of his football career.
Yeah, I really think 2 things benefited the Ravens here. One, not that anyone should benefit from a crisis, but the salary effect, the effect on the salary cap because of COVID-19, along with the cap hell that the Saints put themselves in, really combined to create a situation in which a guy that normally would not be on the open market is on the open market.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There it is.
There, yeah. So, yeah, appreciate that, DK. This deal includes $37 million guaranteed, include 31 in the next year per source. Wow. Yeah, and of course, a
Good for
5-year
him.
deal worth $70 million. Yeah, awesome deal. I even saw him ranked as high as 6 in some boards. But either way, great signing, especially based on his skill set. I don't know if you were going to mention that as well. I'm assuming you were, but if I'm not mistaken, he's got 15 interceptions in his career. But I just want to, and then, a ton of tackles and everything else. But I want to go back to that other point really quickly before I forget, because I will. That to me is GMing at its best. Don't you think? Where Eric Decosta identified a situation and took advantage of a desperate team, right? Like, they franchise tagged him last year and they didn't have a chance to pay him. I think the Ravens, wisely took advantage of that.
Well, I think Marcus was the beneficiary of that. And I think a lot of teams, every team had their shot at Marcus. The Ravens ended up getting him at much lower than, when he first became a free agent, there was the reports that he was looking for 17 a year, and that were certain teams that were willing to go that high. And I think the Jets were the biggest one that were contenders, as well as I think the Eagles were involved trying to get him. But ultimately, to get him at 14 mil annually, a guy who's entering his prime, I think it's exciting, man. I mean, it's exciting to see a guy who will be spending his best years here, and a guy who is a true center fielder. This is a guy we've been looking for. I mean, look, we like what Brandon Stevens did as a rookie. We were encouraged by his talent and thought that he obviously had a big opportunity to get better because he's so young to the position, but this is a guy it's pretty much a finished product, and still has his best years ahead of him. He's a true center fielder.
Yeah, and if you look at, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No,
if you look at Brandon Stevens, I feel like most likely his skill set closer mirrors that of a Chuck Clark, much more than a rangy ball hawk type guy. While he's shown ball skills in college, look, Chuck's only going to be here for so long. Not saying that Chuck's out the door this year or maybe even the following year, but the point is that it is very likely that Marcus Williams will be here longer than Chuck Clark. I'm not saying it's a sure thing, but it is also very likely.
He's here for the next 5 for sure.
Right. So then you got a guy like Brandon Stevens who's waiting in the wing and being groomed to then fill in that slot. So look, I think it's Eric Decosta really thinking ahead and taking a step forward for sure. And something I want to mention, Glenn, which I think is really awesome. I just want to read these details. Shout out to DK for finding it. So I just wanted to compare here. The Ravens spent the following on Earl Thomas in one season. So that deal was 4 years, $55 million. 4 years, $55 million, including $32 million guaranteed. There you go. And we just signed him to a 5-year, $70 million, right? And 31. So less guaranteed money. Because at the end of the day, what matters is guaranteed money.
Yep. And how much younger?
Right. Yeah. Earl Thomas was well into his 30s at that point, and this guy is not even sniffing 30 yet.
Yeah.
So, man, value, right? I mean, that's what Eric Decosta talks about. I think he found a heck of a lot of value there.
Yeah, and I love, I've been watching a lot of clips from him, a lot of, people pointing out the skill set that he has. And what's exciting to me is the ball hawk skills combined with the instincts on the back end of the defense. The guy it's not just what he does on script. It's his ability to go off script when the quarterback is either scrambling to buy time, and he's able to recognize and help other guys maybe outside of his initial area of coverage.
You saw that play against the Aaron Rodgers, right, where he fooled him?
I saw that one. I saw the one against Jalen Hurts where he picked up a wheel route down the sideline far away from his intended area of coverage, and he reached almost 21 miles an hour running over to cover a deep ball. The guy, and then he doesn't just get there and make a play, on the receiver. No, this guy can make a play on the ball. This guy can track a deep ball. He can cover a lot of space. He's really what we've been looking for since, of course, Ed Reed left, and getting him at 25 is just it's super exciting. I loved seeing the little video. He seemed excited to be here. Mark Ingram tweeted out that that the Ravens are getting certainly a really talented player, and say much deserved for Marcus Williams. But man, just 9 interceptions last year for the Ravens. In the secondary, that's not going to get it done. So adding a ball hawk like Marcus, I think, adds that extra element we were missing, which is getting turnovers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he averages a little over. He's been playing 4 years. This is going.
Well, he's had 2 in every season of his career, which he's only one of a few players to do that.
Gotcha. For some reason, I thought it was 3, but either way, even 2. I mean, that's awesome. But you bring him in along with Marcus Peters back. I mean, definitely, and based on the numbers, right?
And just one quick thing I want to say about Stevens. Brandon Stevens showed in college and in the pros that he can do a lot out of the slot. And look, Tavon Young is gone.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think Brandon Stevens is still going to play a lot of football in this defense. I think he's going to be playing a lot of slot. And also, we have to remember that the best year that Marlon Humphrey had was a year where he was playing both inside and outside. And that maybe that's the best way to take most advantage of his ability, is the fact that he is so versatile. Why stick him on the outside when he's just as good, as a nickel or in the interior? So I think it's just a great move that allows everyone to continue to push that versatility and be positionless a lot of times in the secondary.
It's exciting. I'm sure McDonald is excited. I got McDonald on the mind because of Asmodeus to notice here. He's always helping us out with the McBangers. I really want Kyle Hamilton is what he says. Love getting Marcus Williams. I mean, I think
does this mean we definitely are out of that sweepstakes?
I think it means a few things, and we'll definitely get to that. But yeah, that's one of them. I mean, I think we're out of I think the Ravens have never had a chance, is what it really means, right? I think that Draftplex gave it to us cut and dry, right? Like, he's not sniffing 5, much less 14. So,
and at this point, you just spent all that. I mean, how much more can we put into the secondary? I mean, that's a lot.
And I think what we'll do, like what I want to do is continue to talk about the free agency market, the moves the Ravens can make, but then I want to talk about how it can affect the draft. So make sure you guys hang around. We're here for a while, because I think that's going to be important as well. But hey, huge shout out to the Baltimore Ravens for getting Marcus Williams.
Yes, sir.
Grade A, Glenn. I mean, can you get anything but an A?
Got to be an A. Got to be an A from me.
That's right, man. I mean, look, anytime you go to Safety U.
Oh my goodness. Safety U.
That's right, baby. Look, we got Louisville is QBU, and we got Safety U. I mean,
look, it's hard to argue. They've been putting out some talent, man. I got to give the Utes a little bit of credit. I didn't think of them as necessarily a football feeder, but it looks like they're putting out a lot of talent here lately.
Oh, and more to come. The left tackle we got coming out is an absolute monster. In fact, we should watch him tape on him, see if he ends up coming to Baltimore, but he is an animal.
Marcus excited says, words can't describe the way I'm feeling. I'm so grateful. I can't wait to get to work. #Ravens. #bless. Man, exciting, man. Exciting. I know all those Ravens fans are saying, the bargain shopper, they don't do nothing to help.
Hey, I'm one of them.
Well, look, I want to hear a little bit of break given to Eric Decosta and this Ravens organization. They certainly jumped out there. Had day 2 of free agency. They're already getting a big time guy, the number 1 safety. Got to give him credit. But yeah, so I want to talk about also some other news that popped out today, if that's okay. And of course, we can always go back to talk about with Marcus and
let's do it, definitely.
If anyone brings it up. But exciting news also about the comp picks were announced, and so we finally got a little bit more clarity on the type of picks that the Ravens are going to be dealing with. So they did get a pair of 4th-round comp picks from Matthew Judon and Yannick Ngakoue, rounding out their total picks to now 10 in this upcoming draft. They have, of course, 1 in the 1st, 1 in the 2nd, 2 in the 3rd, and now, let's see,
5 in the 4th. We
4th.
own the 4th round.
Insane. And then 1 in the 6th.
Yeah.
So they got still a lot of flexibility here, and now it's going to be interesting, still a long time for the draft, but how many holes they can fill, and if they can truly go into this draft with no obvious holes so they can take the best guy available.
Yeah, I would like, so that's one thing. I would like to say that is going to happen. I don't think that is going to happen.
Yeah.
But I would like to say that's going to happen. So it'll be interesting. I feel less confident about that this year than I have in other years, but I feel more confident about our draft position this year than I have in others. So it's kind of a give and take,
Yeah.
there, right? But let me ask you this, Glenn, with that question in mind,
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about what other moves we see. And now the Ravens, sorry, before we get to that question, now the Ravens have been rewarded the most comp picks in the
Yeah.
NFL since the inception of the comp pick formula, right?
Yeah, I believe that was in '94 when they started doing that, and the
Yeah.
Ravens have 55 in their history. Next closest is the Cowboys at 49.
Yeah, no, that's impressive stuff. DK, I'm gonna give you some homework there in the background. If you can pull up a as close to accurate number of what we see with the projected cap now with Marcus Williams,
Yeah, that's
either
the
on
tough
spot.
part because I'm not
Yeah, it's
sure
tricky.
what
If you
that
can
first
find
year is.
anything,
But 37, didn't you say it was 31 million in the next year? He'll get paid.
yeah. Yeah. Well, the Ravens seem to be doing that a lot now. And I mean, I guess a lot of teams, but like same thing. Mark Andrews, I think, gonna make 36.
Mm.
And Ronnie made something ridiculous in the first like 12 to 18 months. It was insane. So yeah, something we're seeing a lot of, where Ozzy, I felt like, did a lot of backloading.
Okay.
I feel like Eric, the subtle changes,
Hey,
but I think Eric's doing a little bit different. I think it's all for cap manipulation, right? To not, where Ozzy would get into this, not that it's bad, but his method was just kind of kick it down the can, right? Whatever works. But either way, you got to take the hit, right?
eventually, it's
Yeah. So
uh,
I think a lot of that had to do with getting out in front of Lamar's deal was
that
the
that.
idea.
But that's the big, And DK brought this up before we got started here. How gutsy is this move with still the uncertainty around what's going to happen with Lamar's contract? They just committed a bunch of money to this
Mm-hmm.
safety,
Mm-hmm.
and they did that without knowing exactly what's going on with their quarterback's contract.
Yeah, it might be a sign. I don't think it's gutsy. I think it's a sign that Eric feels good. The deal's going to get done when the deal gets done. And if it's 50 million, if it's 55 million, whatever it is, he's going to be a Baltimore Raven. Like, I just don't see anything else happening, right? Like, whatever it's got to be, it's got to be. But
Okay.
I don't think Lamar walks. I don't think Lamar gets out the door.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think so either. I'm just saying it is
But it's a good
interesting.
point, right? That, like, it's still all weird that Kyler Murray is pouting like a petulant child and has more time left on his deal, if I'm not mistaken, because he came in a year after Lamar, and
Mhm.
Lamar is is chilling and watching the money stack up, right? So it is definitely interesting. But yeah, let's talk about what other moves.
Yeah,
Why don't
there's a
we?
lot of
Would
guys
you want to
left.
start positionally, or do you want to start with players here? Like, because to me, you got the O-line, you got the edge rushers, you got even the interior of the defensive line.
Mhm.
Are there any other positions that I'm missing that are like 1A that we really need?
Well, the interesting thing is that the fan base is starting to and it could just because of the Bobby Wagner release. There's a lot of people talking
Oh, you're
linebackers
right.
is
Good point.
climbing in their need. They said they don't want to see another issue where they got to sign Josh Bynes to come be a Band-Aid for another
Mm-hmm.
year and watch Patrick Queen kind of look lost at times out there. They say sign Bobby Wagner. Let's just get a guy in here that can stabilize that defense. Any chance, like, even after this, like, does this signing mean you can't go get a Bobby Wagner?
Yeah, I'm trying to. So we'll just say that the hit is 14, right? Was what we'll
Mhm.
say it is this year.
Okay. And I'd be surprised if it was the full 14, but let's just say because that's the annual rate, we'll call it 14.
So we had like 8 and change, and then we released Tavon and Alejandro Villanueva. So that freed up, I think that was like 11 and something.
Yeah, got him to
So
around 16.
So what we'll say is that we're down to what?
Well, if we're going 14, that's 2 million. So there's just no way it could be that high of a
And
cap hit.
I also heard that they're restructuring Marlon's deal.
Yeah, that's the plan, and then also they're saying that they could go and look at Ronnie's as well.
Yeah. So I'm going to say, and obviously we're going to have 10 picks, right? If we keep them all, you got to pay these guys as
It's a lot
well.
of picks.
Man, I think that Eric would love to get Lamar's deal done. At least for this year, to to
Some
potential.
clarity.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But okay. So I don't know if we can go out and get a guy of
Is
that.
that big enough a need? Is that it, or are you okay with the possible bandage of Josh Bynes
You
and
know
the
what I'm okay
combo?
with? Maybe not a Josh Bynes, but I think we really missed LJ Fort,
Okay, yeah,
to
LJ
be
will be
honest with
back.
you.
He'll
Like
be back.
LJ will be back. He'll be on the free agency market. Like I think he could really um help a guy like Patrick Queen, and he's more
Mhm.
youthful and can be depended on in the open field in one-on-one scenarios. I mean, obviously that play that always comes to my head is that play in the goal line where he stopped Derrick Henry one-on-one. It
Yep.
seems like a routine thing, but when it's Derrick Henry, it's never routine. Look, Dawson Bulock brings up CJ Mosley. Trust me, I
Mhm.
would love to have CJ Mosley back, but look at them. I mean, think about it. His last contract, he got more guaranteed money than Nick Foles did in that year. So CJ Mosley's not taking a small deal.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Who knows what's going on with CJ? I think that he's still trying to make things work in New York. But another name I keep seeing, I saw was a bit of a surprise cut today after leading his team in tackles for another year is Miles Jack. I mean, he's only
Yeah.
26 years old. He's a guy
Yep.
that everyone that I know as a Ravens fan wanted him when he was coming out of college. So
Yep.
he had 108 tackles. He's got the speed. He's got the athleticism. There's no doubt that the guy is, he's athletically at least, good enough to hold up in both against the run and the pass.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's only 26. I wouldn't mind seeing them kick the tires on him. The question is, how much
Yeah.
does he want to get paid? Because I think
Right.
they cut him to save 8 against the cap.
Now, the one thing that he could do is he could take a 1-year prove-it deal to then turn around. If he doesn't have suitors, right? Like if he doesn't have suitors for a long-term deal that he likes, he could take a 1-year deal in a winning situation,
Yeah.
get some good tape out there and then go out and hit the market again. DK, the other thing I was going to mention is, I just totally blew my mind here. If there's any places you see where the Ravens could tighten their belt outside of Marlon and Stanley, the other one that comes to mind is we talked about this, but Juwan James, I think if I'm not mistaken, if it comes down to it, right, would you rather have a Miles Jack or a Juwan James who, not that their contracts are going to be equivalent, but Juwan James, I think we would save $3 million.
3. Yep.
And then you add that to the existing cap, you could start getting closer to a guy like what Miles Jack would command, right? So that's
Yeah.
another one. But if there's any other ones that you see, DK, like feel free to put them in the, down below in the banner. That'd be awesome. But yeah, I mean, it's really tricky here. Now there's another name that's a Raven I want to bring up. Not that I think we can get there, but if there is a guy that we would stretch for, I think that it would be a current, well, a current Raven, as in like, an in-house guy. He's a free agent now in comparison to going outside the market. Like centers are being taken off the board.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Treader out there just got released by the Browns.
Yeah.
So to me, it's him and Bozeman sitting out there at this point as far as the top 2 centers. And I think Bozeman is a bit younger, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So with a lot of guys being signed, what type of deal does he garner at this point? You know what I mean? Does it get closer to what the Ravens are willing to stomach?
Yeah, man, all signs are pointing that he's leaving and the market will just force him out of here. The question is if that's the reality or if that's just kind of something the agent was pushing or
Right.
who knows, because yeah, he hasn't been signed yet. Jensen ran about as barefoot back to the Bucks as soon as he saw Tom Brady was coming out of retirement.
Which is
He
just
couldn't wait.
annoying.
He
Just
couldn't wait.
annoying,
I
dude.
can't even blame him though. I mean, I really can't. But yeah, it was
Somehow he ends up in the easiest division in the NFL all over again.
It was a
Freaking
hilarious.
cakewalk.
It was hilarious how quickly he saw. Like it was like
He was like, "Oh
Tom
yeah, the
Brady's
Saints are
back.
garbage.
Yeah.
The Panthers are a dumpster fire. Yeah, let me go be a bully all over again and waltz my way to the Super Bowl."
Hey, if you can find an easier path, there's a reason 1 seeds get to play the 16 seed. If you can take the easier path, you absolutely will. But I just, man, I still, while there's part of me that wants to hold out hope,
Right.
I don't see a way that he can be here with the money the market's going to give him. I just don't see it. But I would be surprised to see the Ravens not address pass rush at some point.
Right. They got to do something, right? You can't just go into this draft with all the, I mean, we need bodies. Like
At
straight
least.
bodies,
And now I'd like some talent there, but at the very least, you
some
need
heartbeats.
exactly. And of course, I was a big Hassan Reddick guy last year.
Who did he get
You know,
swooped up by this year? Got a 2-year
I think it
deal.
was the Eagles. I think it
Eagles.
was.
Yeah, he's coming home because he went to Temple. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was kind of bummed out to see that the Eagles grabbed him. What about Zadaria Smith? I keep seeing like there's always pictures of him in Baltimore, and it's always like from behind. And you're like, is that Zadaria? What are your thoughts on him? Is any chance that he ends up back in purple?
Man, I don't think so. I just think, I mean, if you can pay him and Bozeman the same thing, don't you think that, like, if they would accept the same deal, wouldn't the Ravens rather sign Bozeman? Because I
Ooh,
don't think
I don't
Za'Darius
think
is
so.
going, really?
I don't think so. I think
I think they
Bozeman
would.
is best is slightly above average, but it's Za'Darius' best.
Yeah,
He's
but
far
coming up,
above
what he's got, he
average.
had the back surgery last year, and he's 30 now, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and Bozeman has
But he
shown
did
that
come back and have a sack in his first game back in
he
the playoffs.
did. You are right. But I mean, I don't see, I think the deal's just going to be too rich.
Yeah.
So, and not even that it's just going to be too rich. I think the Ravens might try and sign 2 mid-level guys for what they would give Za'Darius.
But I mean, man, I got to pull
Who?
up the
Great question.
yeah, I mean,
Justin Houston. Houston, we have a problem.
you
Like,
know what? That's the guy I keep going back to. Like he's going to end up back here. I mean,
I just want him to be
yeah.
in better shape. I don't want to see skinny Justin Houston back next year. I want to see bulked up, like monstrous biceps Justin Houston back. I don't want the skinny stuff, Justin. All right.
Yeah, but the problem is he's another year older, and
I
so
know.
he probably lost that weight to keep his quickness and some speed. And yeah, I mean, I don't. I just have a big feel. There we go. The
Okay, here
Ravens
we
can
go. Nice
save
work.
a total of 8+ in cap space by cutting Juwan James, Miles Boykin, and Ben Powers. Well,
And Boykin is on the trade block.
yeah, Boykin being cut, traded. I think this is one of those situations where you try and reach out. Did anyone love Miles Boykin when the draft process was going on? Can we offload him for maybe a guy that we had high hopes that on your team that didn't work out? Or if that's not the case, I mean, there's just no way that Miles Boykin is on this roster. So it's either a trade or
He's
a
gone.
cut.
You know
No
what's
doubt in my
crazy?
mind.
You know where I think he would go? He would have played really well. Now they have a ridiculous 3-headed monster quarterback now, but like in Pittsburgh where they run nothing but go routes.
Oh, you talking about at wide receiver?
Yeah, where he would. I feel like he would have had a chance because like their scheme, you know, with a guy like what's his face?
Claypool?
Yeah, where they're just like, hey, dude, run straight,
Yeah.
and we're gonna throw you a 50-50 ball.
The
Like,
problem is he doesn't attack the 50-50 ball well enough, in my
right,
opinion.
but
He plays
I
so
also don't.
small.
At the very least, he's a great straight line runner.
Yeah, he can run. He just
You know what I
won't
mean?
catch
So
the
like
ball at
to
the
me,
end
I
of it.
thought, but their quarterback situation is ridiculous.
I was so happy to see
I
them get
know.
Mitch Trubisky. I mean,
And
they
they
are
give him a
just
2-year deal. Why? Just he's not out there like getting tons of offers. I'm sure it's like, what
right.
are you doing here? And
I
then
don't see it.
they tendered what's his name?
Haskins.
Haskins. Yeah, it's like, dude, they can't make up their mind which dumpster fire of a quarterback. One can't count to 21 without getting naked. One, like, one. I mean, Mitchell Trubisky got picked over how many guys? It's embarrassing at this point. One got an entire front office fired, and the other one can't stay at the strip club.
Yeah. Yeah, they're a mess. They're an absolute disaster. And I love the fact that there's been no linking any of these big time quarterbacks who are
to
possibly
the Steelers. Yeah.
None whatsoever.
They somehow think they're going to make it work. Like, oh, we can emulate what Ben was at 38 years old. Let me tell you what, guys. Ben was a statue with his feet full of Home Depot buckets and cement.
Mm-hmm.
Still, they don't sniff Ben's worst day.
No, not a chance. They're in a lot of trouble. Now, their only chance is that the fact that this is a bit of a soft draft from quarterbacks, and if they find one who's undervalued by others,
right,
they could get
Why
their
are
guy.
they not all in on Deshaun Watson? I don't get it.
Well,
Well, I mean, maybe they
maybe.
don't agree with the off-field stuff, right? And
Yeah,
I feel like you need to
exactly.
be in
I mean, look, there
unison.
was also some rumors and some accusations pointed towards Big Ben in his past. So,
Right, they turned a blind eye to that, right? Like,
but if they now bring in another guy with more accusations, is it like, all right, come on, is this like a part of the job interview? You got to have this on your resume to be a quarterback in Pittsburgh. I mean, I don't know. I think it's a little interesting,
we're
but
already used to the heat, might as well,
yeah, I guess
right? Like,
so. I guess so.
anyway, I know this isn't a Steelers podcast, but I'm
Well,
glad that they're in the situation they're in.
yeah, I love every second of it. But I wanna ask you about another position that I think is it's been briefly talked about, and that's the tight end spot. I know we got all world Mark Andrews and
Yeah.
Nick Boyle, the caveman, but are we not missing something since the departure, of course, of Hayden Hurst? And I see some guys out there that I know there's some guys in the draft in the middle of the rounds that kind of shut up the boards a little bit during the combine process, showing some athleticism, because I think that's what we need is a guy who can show a little bit more on the up the seam route in case there were an issue
Mm-hmm.
with Mark Andrews. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
what about bringing back either one of the familiar faces? Of course, we did a whole video about Hayden Hurst, but
Yes.
Max Williams is also an available free agent. I know we haven't talked a lot about Max since he was in Arizona, but the guy is talented. The guy is really
Yeah.
talented, and he's a run blocker, and he can catch.
Yeah. So Max is he's the walking tin man now. That's my only concern. I think he's got metal all over at this point. And you know, the one thing that's always been my qualm with Max, I just talked about with Justin Houston, he's got that Jalen Ferguson body.
Who? Oh yeah, he's got some baby
like
fat on him.
Yeah, he looks soft to me, dude. Like at the very least, Hayden Hurst, he looks scary. Like he looks like Thor.
Yeah.
Like the dude is an athlete, and so yeah, I'm out on Max. I think that
I think people are sleeping a little bit on Max, man.
That's fair.
He made plays in Arizona.
He did. He did. I remember seeing one game he made a nice play and he got destroyed. He got up and he was so blank faced.
He could take some shots. Him and Crockett Gilmore could take some shots. I just bring him up because Bradley Bozeman is the 58th rated free agent, and Max Williams is right behind him at 59.
Wow. Where's Hayden?
That's a good question. I don't see him. I'm gonna try and find him, but I didn't see him in the top 60. That's for sure.
Can I just say real quick, shout out to you guys for coming out. 280 viewers right now, and we said we're going live like 20 minutes beforehand. Shout out to you guys. Holy crap. Absolutely. I just looked up and was like, wow, that's awesome. We appreciate the support. We know you guys are excited as us.
Yeah, man. Getting early news. I mean, early free agent news from the Baltimore Ravens.
Which is just crazy, dude.
It's nuts. But let me ask you this. Tackle. Jimbo, I'm still like, I don't know what they're going to do at tackle, and I don't want them going in the draft going, well, we filled this need, we filled that need, we filled this. But right now at tackle, we got Juwan James and Ronnie Stanley, and then we got Pat McCary as the Swiss Army. They got to bring in a vet, in my opinion. And I see a guy like Morgan Moses, who's been, relatively healthy. He's been consistent since taking over in 2015. He's an available free agent. He plays the right side. I mean, they got to bring it. Is there any chance they go into this draft with no added veterans at the tackle position?
I think it's more likely than not, Glenn.
What?
I just do. I don't know. I feel like if they go anywhere, it's going to be edge. Like if they're going to spend money on guys that haven't played for the Ravens before, I think it's going to be edge. I think they feel like they at least look. I'm a fly on the wall inside the castle, but I think they might feel like now this is relative speaking. So hear me out. I think they might feel like they have a little more depth at tackle. Not that they have depth, but they have a little more depth at tackle than they do at the outside linebacker or like an edge guy is just brutal right now. It's brutal.
But they got a hell of a secondary. They did just spend a first rounder last year on the edge.
Yeah.
And right now, I want to protect my quarterback.
That's what I'm saying. I think in the draft, though.
Yeah, and then you're banking on, first of all, you're going into the draft pigeonholed into having to take a guy in the first round. Because good luck finding a starter again in the third like you did in Big O. Unless somebody just bombs the combine again like he did. it's not going to be easy to find a week one starter in the draft unless you do it in the first round. And if we see a run on tackles with the perceived weakness at the quarterback position in this draft, that's very possible.
Yeah.
I think they have to address, even if it's just a bandage, even if it's just a 1 year. I just can't imagine going into this draft with just Ronnie Stanley and Juwan James at tackle.
Well, and I think in their minds, they also have, it was Patrick McCary. They also have in a pinch. They have, dude, why can I not remember anything tonight? Oh my gosh,
Tyree Phillips.
There we go. Yeah. And I feel like there's another name that's escaping me, but at the very least, they have those guys, and so I agree with you 100%. So with that being said, let me ask you this then, Glenn. Now in the second phase of free agency being, we got the most expensive signing out the way. From here on out, it is most likely mid-level guys or some sort of a bargain sweetheart 1 year deal, maybe on a guy that's a little better, right? So he can hit the market again, or bargain shopping, right? But I don't see another splash. So my question is, what are your priorities? We've talked about a few positions. Positionally, it sounds like you're taking tackle over edge. Like, line up your priorities for me.
Yeah, as big as a need that edge is, and there's no doubt there's a need there, I still have confidence in Odafe Owe. We know that. And I still have confidence that at some point Bowser will get, back out there and get back to what we're used to. So to me, it's we have got to, we can't underestimate or undervalue what the offense did in 2019 to make the defense look so much better. So while I know that there's, a weakness at the edge spot, I think the first and foremost, the most pressing need is to keep Lamar Jackson's confidence high that he's not going to be, on his backside after every time he tries to drop back. And then it limits our playbooks. We just throw away the 5-step drop. We throw that away because we know we can't give him 5-step drop type of time. So to me, it's no doubt about it. Protect Lamar Jackson, tackle 100%, center. Yes, I want it all. If Treader's the guy, then I think we need to invest in the offensive line and not be desperate to do so in the draft.
Well, it's
he certainly helped. He certainly helped. No doubt.
He just blocked everyone in front of him.
Yeah, just all of them.
It's funny, Glenn, because it seems like I've gone off of my own beaten path here, and because I feel like what you're saying is exactly what I was saying, and now I'm concerned. Like early on, you remember when I was like, dude, all I want is offensive line. Like I feel like I've been saying that since the year before, and you're absolutely right. And I feel like I just lost myself for a second. It was outside of my body.
I think so, because you're always saying build from within. I don't know what's going on.
I'm just concerned about the rush, but you're absolutely right. Like, I hate I appreciate it, but you've reiterated to me the fact that should be our number one priority, both in free agency and in the draft. Like, not one or either or. It should be both. And release. Melvin says release Juwan James, trade for Lyle Collins. Melvin, I like the idea in theory. This will not happen simply because Lyle Collins wants the Brinks truck.
Yeah, if you could see what Lyle's getting paid this year, if it's even possible to do for on the short term, which I think that any team trading for him is probably going to trade enough capital to where they commit themselves to the long term. But hey, it's worth taking a look at it. And because, look, would Lyle Collins look great protecting the right side? You're darn right he would. He would look phenomenal.
Speaking of protecting the right side, you see the Big O got franchised?
I think he'll get that next year too. I think he'll get it next year. And I love it. They force themselves. They have to do it.
Yeah. And then after that second franchise, he picks up the phone and calls Eric. And he's like, Eric, I want to come home.
I want to come home, Eric. And then you know what he does? Bangs right on him. Yes.
No, but you know what, Glenn?
Big baby.
You have reignited my initial want and need. You're 100% right. Gosh, that's hard for me to say.
Wow.
But you are 100% right. Because look, oh gosh, at the end of the day, our number one asset is as good as the other players are. Number one asset, far and above, is Lamar Jackson. Protecting Lamar Jackson is your number one priority, right?
Yes.
You do that with good running backs, you do that with good wide receivers, but you do that first with the guys in front of him. Joe Burrow
Mhm.
just got just got sacked the most times, I think, in the playoffs, in a playoff run,
Yeah.
and tied for the most in a Super Bowl. And the last play of the game got taken down. Right.
Yep.
So, yes. Now, the name you brought up, did you say
Morgan
Morgan
Moses.
Moses? Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
like
like
it.
Morgan Bogus. I mean, look, we need to get a guy in who is healthy, who's
Yep.
consistent,
Yep.
who's durable. I don't want to see a guy who's brought in here where we're constantly worried. Is he going to be at practice this week? Because look, we want guys who are practicing and playing on Sundays. No doubt about it. Got to have it. And
Lisa, I'm Team Glenn too, but I know how to spell Glenn's name correctly.
oh, taking shots at Lisa.
But I am also Team Glenn, Lisa. Don't you worry.
Yeah, I mean, look, we need to get our offense back to what it was, being the ball dominant, the possession dominant. We need to get back because the defense, when the defense is playing with a lead, I mean, the pass rush might not be there from a name standpoint, but when you know a team has to throw, when you're playing from a lead, you can pin your ears back. It changes your play calling, and it makes guys elevate their game simply by the fact that you know that they have to throw the ball more often because they're digging out of a hole.
But let me go out on a very shaky limb.
All right.
Juwan James, if he's a Raven this year, okay, this is gonna be hella shaky, but I'm feeling it tonight. I got the good vibes going. Everything is good. I got baby Buddha. Look, DK, I got baby Buddha on the desk. Yes, we are ready to rock.
You rub the head or the belt?
Yes,
I don't know. Okay.
All of it.
Okay.
But the point being, Juwan James is gonna ball out this
I think
year.
that was disrespectful, actually.
No, I mean it in every good way, DK. Every positive. Like, I have read a ton of Buddha quotes and all kinds of stuff, and I love it.
Well, there you go. He's an expert. He's an expert, ladies and gentlemen. He read a couple quotes.
I stand for it 100%. It's great stuff. Point is, Juwan James is balling out this year.
Okay.
So don't be concerned.
Man.
Don't be concerned.
How about that? Okay, there we go. Look, Lyle Collins, I'm sorry, right there.
That's an average per year.
Coming.
Is that what you're saying, DK?
Yeah, he's not coming. Yeah, he's not coming. I mean, I love it, but that right there, he's not coming. Now, think about this, Jimbo. What if Juwan James is healthy and he goes back to playing his best like he did, previously in his career? Man,
tap his head, Glenn. Tap his head now.
Put the Buddha down, Jimbo. It's blaspheming. That's blaspheming right there.
I don't mean it in a bad way.
That is blaspheming right there.
I'm sorry, DK.
But no, I mean, just imagine if that guy is able to get back. I guess that's kind of pie in the sky, though, because, I mean, he's missed 2.5 years.
You heard it here. You heard it here.
Okay. All right. Now, I got to move on to the defensive side of the ball, and we got to talk about another surprise. Okay, go ahead.
Really quickly. Sorry, before we move over, should we identify a few other names that you see out there? Do you see any other names out there for the O tackle,
offensive line
or O-line in general? Like, what do you think? Is there any way Treader? Like, do you like him?
Yeah, I like him. I just think that he's gonna.
I think too expensive.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be too expensive. He's still one of the highest rated and respected centers in the league, and I honestly also think that he's more of a zone fit and more of those, because he's playing in Cleveland, which is that zone offense, that Shanahan offense. So I think he's gonna end up going someplace like the Bengals. I mean, the Bengals are a very similar offense. They're desperate at center. Yep. They already signed 2 guards and want to continue to put assets towards that. So I think that. I think he could stay in the AFC North and just go over not too far and go to Cincinnati. But we'll wait and see. I mean, I'd be excited to see him, but I'd be a little bit surprised as well. But I still think offensive line you got to address. But I got to talk defensive tackle.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because
no other names then for offensive line that we're missing.
No, I mean there's names out there. Eric Fisher, but he's more of a zone guy. Riley Reef, he's more of a guy I'd run as a Swiss Army knife, and if he was here, I might feel better about McCary being as the starter and have him as the backup. There's some names, but nobody who gets me really excited.
Fair enough. Just wanted to make sure we were exhaustive there. All right, let's move over to defense. Go ahead. Have it.
Yeah, because there was a bit of a surprise cut and Eddie Goldman getting cut, who was a
Yeah.
big D tackle, who's a run stuffer. And of course, with Brandon Williams testing free agency and Calais Campbell deciding where he wants to play maybe his final year in the league. Right now, there's an obvious need in the interior. And yeah, we got some young guys, but I think it's a no-brainer that they bring in someone at least to help, replace the void of the Brandon Williams and Calais Campbell. So he's apparently already scheduled a visit here, so there
Yeah.
must be interest from both sides, as well as the former Raven, as Troy brings up, Michael Pierce, who
Yeah.
has some weight issues over his career, and I think that was a big part of why he was a free agent. But what's your thoughts on those two guys?
Yeah, I want Pierce back. I'm not worried about his weight issues. I'm not. I think it had more to do with the fact that Brandon just had a ton of money on the books and they couldn't pay him both than it was his weight issues. So I like it because he's been here, done that. Like, we know who he is. We know what we get out of him. And he adds pass rush to the equation. I don't know a ton about Goldman.
Eddie Goldman?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I've seen
run stuffer.
Yeah, I've seen the Bears play a few times. So yeah, I want Pierce, man. If we can get him in at the right deal.
Yeah.
Like, is it, I don't know. I mean, am I crazy? To me, it's really a no-brainer because it's the guy that you know. So if all things are equal, I want Pierce. Now, it's very possible things won't be equal, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So it really comes down to that. But yeah, I want.
Do you think it's a big enough need to where we have to bring in someone at that spot?
I think Eric Decosta is depending heavily on some of the guys that we've drafted, right? We drafted Broderick Washington. Even Isaiah Mack, who is a much. I don't think we drafted him initially, but we acquired him last year, and he played well while he was here. Your boy Jelly,
yeah, like
right?
him, him.
He's just
I'm a Jelly guy,
a game changer. He is, just stat stuffer. No, but I mean, yeah, I think there's some guys in the middle where Eric's expecting to, and the team is expecting to step up. But I think we do end up. I think we sign a guy.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, they got to, in my opinion, they got to bring in someone, even if but I do think it'll be more of a lower level guy. But also, how does Eric Decosta weigh the fact that he's got to kind of keep the door open for if Calais Campbell wants to return? Like,
well, I think it's the same thing. If they sign a guy, right? Don't you think it kind of shuts the door on that?
It depends on what level, but if they sign maybe, if they sign Eddie Goldman, it might be a thing that where they can't then sign.
That's what. Yeah, exactly. Can't sign Calais.
Yeah,
right.
That would be nah. If you give me a choice between those two, it's Calais.
But what it would mean, Ravens fans, what you can know is that means that Calais wanted more money than Goldman. At the end of the day, if it's the same money, Calais is coming back. You better believe it every single day. The Ravens are making that deal. I feel very confident in that. Asmodeus to notice for your McChickens.
Yes.
Everybody wants a McChicken. McChicken with the honey mustard, dude.
Dude,
I used to smash
the hot mustard
so
buffalo.
hard.
Dude,
I would just roll up with dollar bills.
You and me both. I mean, I would just.
You ever take your coins?
Oh, dude, you go up there, so many coins you can barely lift it up.
And the lady at the front is just angry. Her eyes are just rolling. She's like, just order whatever you want. I'm not counting this.
Now, you know what the trick is at McDonald's? You got to order. If you're worried that the fries are gonna be a little old, order them with no salt, and then just add your own salt to them because they come out hot and fresh. And then you tear open that salt and add it right in front of them. They get a little salty because they get
a little salty.
They're like, you just wanted fresh fries. And
dude, I thought the trick was you order 10 things off the dollar menu and then you ask for 2 water cups,
knowing you're gonna put whatever you want. I mean,
I was just saying. Well, usually now what they do is they give you the water.
Oh, do they? Oh.
Yeah, but the point is you get 2 of them, thinking there's 2 people. I mean, I eat for 2 people.
Just because you're thirsty?
Right. They give you those baby cups. They're like this big. Like, come on, man.
Asmodeus is going to have a field day with all the DC McDonald jokes. That's a good point. That is a good point. Yeah, he's gonna. He's got to love that there's endless possibilities there. Also, interesting how many Mars are on the team. Did you see this? You got Lamar. You got Mark Andrews, you got Marcus Peters, you got Marcus Williams, you got Marquise Brown, and I feel like I'm missing. We got a lot of Mars on the team.
Hey, baby, bring in the Mars bars. Let's start throwing them in the end
There
zone,
you
right?
go. That's
But
it.
okay, so defense. We talked about the defensive line. Are there any other prospects? Other Calais and Brandon obviously are still out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
And
those
the longer
guys.
they sit,
This is an interesting guy. I know we're talking interior, but he's still a
yeah,
front seven guy. Jerry Hughes is an interesting edge guy, and the reason being is that he's graded out in the 90th percentile or higher of all edge defenders in pass rush grade and pass rush win rate
mm,
over the past 3 years. But he's about to be 34 years old. So
mm,
while grading wise, he's still sustaining a high level. You're just waiting for that cliff, right? You're just
yeah,
waiting for him to just fall off and for him
interesting.
to be too old. But that would be a guy who, if they can't, like, if they don't want to wait on Justin Houston to make that last second decision like he did this past season,
Right.
if Jerry Hughes is willing to commit, maybe he could be the Band-Aid at the edge spot who brings some much needed pass rush.
That's an interesting one. And certainly sounds like a Ravens type signing, right?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, here we go, DK. Here we go. Old McDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O.
Um,
A
I,
a Marcus Williams there here and a nose tackle there.
Marcus Williams. I could see that. Yeah. Sing
Fair
it.
enough.
Now sing it.
I'm good. I'll spare us all. I'll spare us all. Trust me.
He said, "No, I'm good. I'm good."
Yeah.
But anyway, back to that. Do you think that is that a possibility? You think that basically what I need to know, Jimbo, are we going to fill all these holes? Because I got a lot of holes. Is this the most holes you can say you could identify? All right. Be an adult. Be an adult. You're a father. Be an adult. Is this the most holes that need plugging in a single Ravens offseason?
I can't breathe.
Jimbo.
Okay, so yes, and I will back this. I will follow up your comment with this, Glenn. Not only is that true,
Mm-hmm.
I heard today something, and I think it was a bit hyperbolic, but I agree with it to a certain extent. Somebody said that this draft will define Eric Decosta's career as a GM for the Baltimore Ravens. I think it's somebody trying to make a headline, but I do think that this is the most important draft. He's put the most chips in on this draft in his tenure thus far as a GM.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it'll like define him, right? Like I think he'll be here for a long time. And so I don't think it's like his defining moment. I think it's kind of dumb, but I do think that this is his most important. He's put the most weight in on this. And you know what? More power to him if he knows what his strengths are. Maybe he's like, look, maybe I'm not the GM. Maybe I'm not the Rams GM, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I know how to draft I know how to value, or I know how to evaluate prospects, value them in the draft, and draft them. So I think that certainly is the truth. It is the most important one. And yes, this is a Christian stream, and that's why I didn't say anything. I just laughed because about a million things came to my head. I said none of them, ladies and gentlemen, not a one. So
unbelievable.
Shout out to me.
I tell you, and you know what? This might be the most important. This might be. I think what's not hyperbolic is that this off season may define him because
like his whole tenure as a.
Well, here's why. If he doesn't secure a contract with Lamar Jackson, Lamar Jackson ends up playing in a different uniform, then that could be that moment. That could be the pivotal moment.
I don't think that will be defined just by this offseason, though. Because think about it. If they don't get a deal done,
next year, Lamar, they got time.
Next year, Lamar's a franchise. He's going to get franchise tagged. And then guess what? If they don't get a deal done, Lamar Jackson get franchise tagged again.
But then that next offseason
right, so that
will be the biggest offseason.
Exact. That I totally. If Lamar Jackson ends up playing football for another team, that will be defining and always connected to Eric Decosta as a GM for the Baltimore Ravens. That for sure. I 100% agree with you on that.
No doubt.
Whether it's this year, next year, or the following year, if this becomes a Kirk Cousins situation, then certainly, yeah.
There it is. All the Mars on the squad.
Did you get them all?
I forgot Marlon.
Oh, you forgot Marlon.
Yeah, I forgot Marlon. He's the only one. Lots of Mars, though, right?
Need the Mars bars.
That's it. We should go to the one game next year dressed in
as
like
Mars bars. Yes.
Just Team Mars. We're all down for the Mars. Uh, but yeah, I
Oh
mean,
my gosh.
I tell you, it's funny with the NFL because the NFL is the only sport I think that can be so deep into the offseason and just completely dominate and overshadow all the headlines because it was selection Sunday when Tom Brady announced he was coming back.
And no one
I
cared.
No one gave a damn about selection Sunday anymore when Tom Brady announced he was coming back. It was like all bets are off. And by the way, how bad do you feel about for the guy who spent $500,000 on his final touchdown pass the day before he announced his return?
Yeah, that's brutal.
500 on the final touchdown ball, and then he comes out of retirement the next day, making
Ugh.
it completely worthless. Well, I guess
Ugh.
not completely, but any old run-of-the-mill Tom Brady touchdown ball
Right,
at that
that is
point.
brutal. Ugh. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I don't know. Teach you a lesson, folks.
I guess so. Don't buy high-end sports memorabilia. Is that the lesson?
Yeah, put it in a uh invest
Retirement?
it. Yeah, something.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
But I want to. So we've kind of addressed the market, but let's talk about the residual effect. I mean, we like the Ravens still have some moves. So let's back up before we get totally into the draft.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
I
by the
think
way, ball hawk rate. Sorry, Jimbo, but
no,
I
no,
just
no,
want
no,
to.
no.
I forgot
You're
to
good.
mention this, and I have to mention this. Since 2017, Marcus Williams is the highest rated when it comes to ball hawk of any safety in the league.
How is that even like defined? Do they
Well, let
have
me
a?
tell you. Yes, they do. They said,
Of course they do.
yeah, when Marcus Williams has been targeted since 2017, he has been dangerous to opposing offenses, making a play on the ball. So, meaning either a pass deflection or an interception on a league high 27.6 of his percent of his targets. So that's higher than any safety in the league. When he's targeted, he makes a play on the ball more than any safety in the league since he's been in the league. So they literally went out and got the premier ball hawk at the safety position in hopes to try and recreate. We've put a premium on safeties here in Baltimore for pretty much the entire length of this franchise. It goes back as Rod Woodson, and then of course Ed Reed, and then we paid Earl Thomas, hoping he'd be the next guy. And man, that's got to be exciting. They went out and got the best ball hawk that was available and not just available, that was period in the entire National Football League at the safety position.
100%. The Ravens were not messing around.
Mm-mm.
And look, I mean, at the end of the day, we talked about this value, and that doesn't always mean the scrap heap, right? We can still go out there and get a good player and get value. Let's see. Local Shearer Douglas didn't need to take Marcus Williams from me, guys. Were you saying he was going to be a Jet?
I think he's Joe Douglas. Yeah, I think this is Joe Douglas here himself. So shout out to Joe Douglas, the GM of
I mean, all the GMs watch our show, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
And this particular one came, of course, from the Ravens organization. But yeah, sorry. Look, you can't just sign everyone because you have all the cap space. You gotta have a little bit of talent to draw these high price free.
Plus,
Free
you got to
agents.
think about this, Glenn. They're going to be paying Zach Wilson a ton of money soon. Before you know it, Zach Wilson is going to be making $50 million a year. A totally valuable contract. I mean, just great pick there, guys.
Yeah, another
great pick. You guys nailed it on that one.
And I like those guys. That's what really I like Joe Douglas, but he kind of you missed it on that one.
And if you guys really don't want to like Zach Wilson, check out his mom's social media. Oh, and you guys will hate Zach Wilson. So go check it out. It's a lot of fun. I won't spoil the surprise, but go check it out. It's a lot of fun. Karen of all Karens, for sure.
Oh, okay.
She is Karen.
Man, I feel bad for all the good Karens out there. Like the good people just happen to be
named Karen.
And you're like, this is bullcrap. I mean, this is absolutely bogus.
Should we start a position to change the name? Like, should it be a different name?
I mean, I don't want to throw any other names under the bus. So
that's true. Fair enough.
Sorry, Karens.
Throw it up, DK, if you don't mind throwing up the AFC North free agency. I think this is good. Okay, let's see. So this is what the Bengals have done so far.
No surprise, they're going heavy on the offensive line.
They need to.
Yeah, I mean that's. I don't think they're done there. I think this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to addressing that. And then they do get B.J. Hill as a D tackle. I think that's a move that can directly be pointed to trying to stop what the Ravens will be bringing into Cincinnati with that two-headed monster back and healthy. And then, of course, Jesse Bates got the much-deserved and
Yeah.
franchise tag. The guy's been a talented player.
I would have
And
just paid him for knocking the lights out of Juju Smith-Schuster.
yeah, right in the middle of the field. I loved every second
just
of it.
throwing his
Now,
contract on the field.
and Troy does point out a good point. They did lose CJ Uzomah,
yeah, man.
which is that's a big loss for them. That guy was
Big
energy.
time.
That guy was big play. He was a gamer. I mean, he broke the Ravens' hearts a few times. So yeah, that's common that what you're going to see is Cincinnati's going to start losing a lot of guys over the next couple of years because when you play well, you get noticed, and especially when you play in big games. Absolutely. And local Shearer Douglas says, I mean, I signed Jordan Whitehead, but he's not Marcus Williams. Exactly. No doubt about it. And the guy, I just can't believe we got a guy like that. Like,
yes, sir. Look, Eric, Eric called him up. Eric Weddle, that is.
Yeah.
Called him and said, dude, look, one Ute to another, bro.
Yeah. You'll be happy.
You'll love it.
Mm-hmm.
He said if you guys remember, while doing the interviews for the Super Bowl, he said the Ravens brought back his love for football. If that isn't powerful, I don't know what is.
Yep.
Like, that's awesome. All right, DK, what you got next? This is the Cleveland Browns. Now
Cleveland making some moves, man. Amari Cooper.
Out of desperation, let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, look, they cut Jarvis Landry. So
interesting.
While they did get Amari Cooper, and I think he's a nice player, he's one of the better route runners in all of football. They, essentially they went from last year having Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, and Peoples Jones to now having Amari Cooper and Peoples Jones. So I don't really think that they've gotten better at the receiver position. And Amari Cooper, to me, in big games and big moments, he kind of shrinks and shrivels. So I'm not that concerned, honestly. I think it was an interesting move to franchise tag David Njoku, who apparently can't break. Like, it's amazing. He never climbs the depth chart, but when you look at the end result, he's their deep threat when Donovan Peoples is out, and he ends up being like one of their, if not their leaders in receiving yards, one of certainly, and he's their third tight end. So a little surprising that, like, why don't they just let this guy go? He's been trying to leave Cleveland for how long? They will not let this guy go.
Yeah, I think it's weird. I mean, it's got to be some serious personality, like
clashes
going on there, right?
It's probably Baker Mayfield is the center of it. I mean, wouldn't you be pissed off if that was your quarterback?
Oh, every day of my life.
Look at Odell Beckham. He couldn't wait to get the hell out of there, and he goes and wins the Super Bowl.
Oh, think about how salty Jarvis was.
Like, man.
You son of a gun.
That's right.
I mean, yeah, but certainly making some moves here, like you said. Gonna be interesting to see how that turns out for them. But yeah, Njoku.
I think the Chase Winovich thing says they definitely expect to not have Jadeveon Clowney back.
That's a great point. Yep. Yeah. Oh, I mean, we could talk about him in Baltimore.
Nah, he doesn't fit. He's a hand in the dirt guy. I don't see. Imagine him in coverage.
Yeah.
That would be absolutely laughable. Local Shearer Douglas says, guess who signed CJ Uzomah? Yeah, they did. I tell you what, he's a heck of a player, man. I think he's a very, very underrated guy. I mean,
gotta get your Ferrari some weapons, right?
That's it, man. Hey, if you're gonna give a true test and see if he's the guy and he's the franchise, you got to at least surround him with enough talent to show that he can do something or fail.
Absolutely. Let's see. What does Asmodeus say here, DK? This is pretty funny. Baker couldn't warm up an apple pie for McDonald's.
You know what? I'm glad he said this, Asmodeus. I haven't been to McDonald's in quite a few years because of what it does to my stomach, and so. But I tell you, I do miss that McDonald's apple pie, man. When it would come out warm and crispy, and you can bite into that thing, and it's
until it would scold your tongue. You know,
you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful. Woo! The holiday ones were always the ones that got my tongue every single time. They were lava inside. But yeah, I do miss that apple pie, man. I could go for one right now, as a matter of fact. But
I just want to say really quickly, one time I was relatively depressed. I think I bought 4 of them and just like I didn't
one after another.
Yep.
Just,
yeah. It was like 2 McDoubles
logs in a wood chipper.
Yeah, it was like 2 McDoubles and 4 pies and like a large Powerade or something like that. It was just
Anyway, now let's pull up the Steelers so we can get a good laugh
Yeah.
because I mean this is absolutely hilarious.
See, look, Dwayne Haskins, shout out. Mitchell Trubisky, shout
Yeah,
out.
good job, guys. Excellent.
Oh,
Excellent.
and look, they went and of course, they re-signed their tackle, which is great, but it's not like their offensive line was lighting it up last year.
No.
James Daniels, Robert Spillane. Spillane was the one that picked off Lamar for that pick six, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So look, not a lot to report here, but like their shiny new toy is Mitchell Trubisky.
The bottom line is until they find a quarterback, all the other signings mean absolutely
Dude, look at
nothing.
that deal. It's a 2-year deal worth 14. What is happening?
Up to 27 in incentives, which
What
means
is
if
happening?
you play, it's got to be playtime.
Can we shout out his agent?
Yeah.
Because dude, agent of the year,
paid.
he just took the pinnacle of distressed asset, shined it up, and made himself 3% on 14 and a quarter. Dude, if that isn't his agent out there hitting the sidewalk,
the guy,
goodness.
he's only second to Kirk Cousins' agent, who, by the way, Kirk Cousins has made over $260 million in the NFL for being 500 in his career and being barely above average.
It's crazy to think that to me, Joe Flacco is better than him.
Yeah.
Like,
if they're the same, you ain't gonna hear me argue.
So it's just crazy to think how different. I mean, that Joe got plenty of money within his here as well. Like, not too much to complain about, but I don't think he's made 260.
I don't think he made no 260.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. All right. Do you have the Ravens? Oh, well, we know what the Ravens one is, so no worries, CK. But yeah, it's only one move. The list isn't very long.
No, but it's one big one. It's a big one.
Yeah. Now I want to talk about this really quickly, Glenn. Let's just kind of turn the page and end the show this way. Now that we've made the first move, let's recap. How many other moves do you see them making? Like just volume wise, and what positions?
Yeah, so volume wise, I think they definitely address the offensive line. I think they got to add a tackle. I think guard, they're okay. They got a lot of guys. They've drafted a lot of guards over the last few years.
Yeah, they like them mid-round guards.
Yeah, I don't think you add a guard. But the interesting thing is, what do they do at center? Because as much as we like Colon Castillo and we have high hopes on him, I just don't. Something tells me the Ravens aren't willing to just go into this upcoming season with him as their center. I just don't see it. So I think they add a tackle. I think they definitely add a tackle. And if the right guard is there, a center, I'm sorry, is there, then I think they add a center. Now, I don't think they're going to get Bozeman because I think he prices himself out, and I don't think they'll get Treader because of the price and the fit. But they got to bring in at least someone who has experience snapping the ball at some point. So I think they bring in a tackle. I think they bring in a center, and I think they bring in more than one edge guy. But the sad thing is, I think it's a low level edge guy. I don't think it's Zadarius. I think it's a Justin Houston. It's a Jerry Hughes. It's one of those back end of the guys, back end of your career guys. But I do think they have to address the edge position. And then of course, I think that while they'd like to add a linebacker, I agree with you, Jimbo. I think they see what they have in LJ Fort and say, we're getting a guy back without having to go spend any money.
He's technically a free agent.
Oh, is he? That's right.
Because he signed that 1-year deal. But either way, I think they're just they'll just re-up.
Furious. Remember, he looked furious signing it.
So angry. He was taking a pay cut.
Yeah, but he could at least smile for the camera. I mean, Jesus.
But I think that either way, I'm sure that they're close with his camp and know what's going on with his recovery. And it just makes a lot of sense to give him the same deal he was going to get last year and say, all right, dude, let's go do this thing. So I agree, whether he's a free agent or not, I think it's more of a technicality with him. He can go anywhere he wants, but I don't think he has a bazillion suitors. Right. I think the Ravens have first dibs if they want.
Yeah, I mean, they certainly have the familiarity and I think they know I think he's most valuable here. I agree with you there. Now, my big thing, one more question for you, Jimbo, is at the cornerback position, because a lot of people are saying they need to add a corner, and I think that they do. The market for corners is interesting. If you've been watching who people have been signing, there's been some big splashes, but there's also been a lot of guys that are on the similar level of Anthony Averett who have been signing for very manageable deals. The Steelers just added a guy for, I think it was 2 years, $8 million if we could get Anthony Averett for a deal similar to that, 2 years, $8 million, where the cap hit you can spread out 3 and 5, however you do it. Any chance? I mean, if you just look at his comparables, it looks like there's an opportunity the Ravens could bring him back for a deal similar to that. Small deal where he can still go out and maybe hit that home run signing in a couple years. Any chance that Anthony Averett's
breaking
not gone?
news? Breaking news.
What?
The Ravens just agreed to terms with your boy Morgan Moses, son.
No, they didn't.
They did. R1, our buddy Jeff Srebeck. The Ravens have agreed to terms with veteran Morgan Moses. According to league sources, it will be a 3-year deal worth. You want to take a guess?
3-year deal worth $15 million.
$15 million.
No way.
Yep.
I swear I didn't see. It's a walk-off, Jimbo.
Hey, man, that was awesome.
Dude, called it and got the number right.
Dude, shout out. Here, Glenn. Here. Hey, dude, hold on. DK has given me the right, okay? Shout out to Baby Buddha for that one, bro. Come on now. Come on now.
Dude, Baby Buddha's going to have to be a staple in the show now.
Coming through clutch, man. Dude. My gosh.
Dude. You see that? Yeah, I got to get the lotto numbers. Who was that? Troy? Yeah, man, I'm on a heater tonight. Man, that is massive, dude.
Yep.
Massive.
Now, what does that mean for the Baltimore Ravens and Juwan James? Is he done?
Get him out of here.
And how does that affect the draft?
Give me that $3 million back, Juwan. Get him out of here.
So are you good now with the O-line going in the draft? Not the O-line, excuse me, the tackles.
I'm good with it. I'm feeling a hell of a lot better because this guy. So okay. Am I good? I guess I'm still not good because I don't know what the hell is going on with Ronnie Stanley. But
maybe that's why you hold on to Juwan, because maybe one of the two could swing
the combination.
What if it ends up being Morgan at left? Morgan's played left in the past when he's had to, right? If I'm not mistaken. Didn't he play left a little bit?
He may have this year a little bit with the Jets.
Wasn't he at the Redskins?
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he only played on the right side for the Redskins.
I swear,
but look,
wasn't he a left when what's his name was out? Who was out? The dude that's in
Trent Williams.
Yeah. Anyway, either way though, go ahead.
Dude. Well, what's exciting is I'm not going to count his rookie year where he only played 8 games, but in his sophomore season, all 16. Next year, 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 all 17. He never misses games, Jimbo.
Hey. Rub the head, bro.
Yes.
Can't say that stuff.
Don't say rub the head, bro. Never say that again.
Hey, this is a family show.
Never say that again.
Family show, Glenn. We're just going to glide right through that, okay? We're just going to glide right through it because I'm not going to bring up
How
what
about
you
them
said.
signing the guy that we brought up moments after we bring him
How
up?
about two signings in one day? How about Eric Decosta changing his stripes, bro? What is happening?
I don't want to hear no more slander from my guy EDC. No more slander. I can't have it.
Wow. As someone who signed Moses last year on a 1-year deal, Moses is a solid run blocker, but his pass protection is questionable at times. Okay, footwork. Look, bro.
Hey, is he better? Is he better than Big Al wasn't right?
Yeah, and don't go peeing in my Cheerios, okay? You don't need any of that, okay? We don't need no negativity here. This is a no negativity zone. We definitely upgraded. I think it's a great deal. Super happy that we got this done.
Man, I'm so hyped right now.
Yes, 100%. Now, what we're going to do, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications because tomorrow we're going to go through how these moves impact the Baltimore Ravens draft and how it updates their strategy. And then also what other moves are on the horizon, because I think edge, like you said, is still out there, Glenn. I think center is still out there, right? Like there's still moves to be done, but I had an absolute blast night. We got 391 people watching right now. Shout out to every one of you that want to spend time with us bozos here and talk about the Baltimore Ravens.
Speak for yourself. No, I 100% agree. I appreciate everyone. Thanks for everyone who was commenting.
Yes.
Thanks to the Ravens for giving us all this to talk about.
Yes.
Man, the news is not.
I mean, goodness gracious, dude. 2 signings in a day. Like,
if they sign Miles Jack, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
I might pass out for real.
Yeah, just just fall out, slumped in my chair.
Oh,
But yeah, no, good day, great day. But we're right back here tomorrow, so don't go. We're not going to be gone long. We're going to be right back. Now, I don't know if we're doing a live session tomorrow.
yeah.
We'll have to kind of talk about that, but we are definitely going to be cranking out some more videos. So give it a couple shout outs. Thanks, Rich France, for bringing up my old nickname. Appreciate that. Thanks a lot. Lisa Ann, appreciate you always
I didn't
showing
even
the
see
love.
that. Nice
Yeah, I
one.
should have erased it, is what I should have done. Shout out to Fabian. Shout out to McDiamond. Appreciate you coming out. Adam Whittington. Nana Rave, as always. Which, by the way, Nana Rave is on like a first name basis now with Lacey Decosta. I see him on.
Nana, can you like shout
Can
us
you get
out
her
and
on
tell
the
her to get
show? Yeah.
Tell her we don't even talk about like anything that's gonna put her in a bind.
No, we'll
just come hang out.
Yeah, just come hang out. Now that you guys are buddies, maybe you could put in a good word for us, because my goodness, they're talking every day. I'm so jealous. Asmodeus, as always, thank you, sir. You are the man or woman. I'm not really sure exactly. Adit Mahmood, appreciate you always coming out. Troy, as always. Daquan, thanks for the love. Thanks to everyone for coming out, and thanks mostly to Joe Douglas for not signing Marcus Williams and allowing the Ravens to do so.
Right.
But again, we will be back soon. But that's it for us tonight.
We'll talk to you guys soon. See ya.
Oh, Asmodeus.
The cap is
Cap is
cat.
cap. Zadarius is
Smith.
next. Way to close the show. See y'all.